Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fish Custard, day 19, the 11th hour of the Regeneration Advent Calendar.
Yes, it's nearing its end now, isn't it? We're almost into the 20s. And yeah, it's been quite a ride so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've crashed the TARDIS a couple of times and we're plummeting towards Ledworth.
We
It,
are.
it's all
We're,
getting spicy now.
yeah, we're going over the Millennium Dome that shouldn't technically be there at this time, but we move.
Yeah,
Uh, Yeah, first bit of trivia there. Moffat realised that mistake and decided that, the TARDIS would be falling through time as well, is sort of the official explanation for that. So, between it going over London and it ending up in Amy's back garden, it dipped back a few years. So there we have it.
I mean, I want to know what happened to the suit jacket, to be honest.
How so?
Well, he loses the jacket unless he's been like putting the fire out with it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, maybe.
But yeah, I'm a
I
big
mean,
fan of the
maybe it
Matthew
fell over
Doctor.
London. Yeah.
Yeah,
When he fell out the TARDIS, maybe it wasn't quite on properly, and so it just slipped and down there somewhere.
yeah. Somebody's just gonna be like, "What's this bird suit jacket?"
I
What's
just gotta
after
hope
the?
Donna doesn't walk into it.
Oh, could you imagine? My head.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe Wilf's out there looking through his telescope and he just sees it floating down.
Oh,
Yeah,
heartbreaking, heartbreaking.
who knows? But anyway, we are done wanking off the Russell T Davies era now. We are being good, and well, you at least are going to be a Moffat apologist for the next few days, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, channel name Peter Smith 11. We're covering the second half of the channel name Smith and 11 in this.
Yeah, so there we go. We got to be a little bit good, haven't we?
Yeah,
I've got to keep myself in line for this one.
Mm.
I mean,
What else?
less so this one. I think 11th
Yeah,
hour, series 5. It's my jam.
yeah.
Uh,
Series
as we,
5.
yeah,
Good.
as we go on to tomorrow, we'll see if anything changes there. But for now, 11th hour, we've lost quite a few people between last episode and this one, haven't we? Like, obviously in front of the camera, but behind as well.
This is like the first major change of the new series, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a huge one, really, isn't it? Because it wasn't just Russell who went; he took a lot of people with him.
Yeah, and I think that it's the show's fifth series, so I think it needed a bit of a zhuzh up, and you can definitely tell that there's new blood in it. The way the show looks, the stylistic choices of the story, you can see the influences of Sherlock in it before Sherlock was even a thing, I guess.
Mm. You can see like the beginnings of a more tangible series arc, I suppose, compared to what Russell did, where it was just, a repeated name or something throughout the series, and then more character stuff beside that. This, with the crack in time, it is something that plays a big role in multiple stories.
And for
As
the
we
whole
go
era,
throughout.
really.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be coming back tomorrow as well when we get to
I'm sure
Time of the Doctor.
we'll dive into the Moffat story arcs tomorrow.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to do that, isn't it? Because that's where
Yeah.
they're all going to be tied up. So for today, yeah, we'll just focus a bit more on the 11th hour and maybe how we feel about the 11th Doctor. So you've already sort of expressed some views there about Matt Smith's take on the character. As you say, it's half the channel name. So, you go first. Let's hear have your chance to gush over him. Go for it.
Matt's so good, isn't he? Like, he never puts in a bad performance. I think even like the bad stories he's in, he just lifts it, and he's just so awe-inspiring watching him, because you just can't. There's something quite magnetic about him. You can't keep your eye off on just every little movement has a purpose, and I think I love his Series 5 look, because I think that just
Oh, it's
fits
my
like,
favourite look for him.
yeah, like you've got this nice sort of studenty geography, like supply geography teacher look to him, and I really like. I think he gets the alienness of the Doctor, like in like Beast Below when he's getting like the glass of water, like using that to sort of hear, and you get it in 11th hour, sort of chucking the glass, going, "Oh, was it full? Okay." There's
It's
lovely quirky mannerisms, what are just so doctory.
it's rather Tom Bakery, isn't he? The that sense of I don't care what other people think of me.
Yeah, and I
Wonderful.
think with Matt, he's got. This is going to sound mean, but he's got an old face. But there's an old face there in a young man's body.
It
Uh,
suits the Doctor
it
perfectly,
is
doesn't
the
it?
Doctor. Yeah, there's this
Yeah.
lovely, nice old soul there, and I think this story really shows this side to the character very well.
It does very much so. And I mean, it's just a lot of fun, really, to watch. A
This
great
energy.
comedic performer. Yeah, so much energy behind it. Similar to Troughton, like the way. I mean, I think Troughton was sort of the Doctor based himself off a bit, wasn't it? Like,
Mm,
Two But a Cybermen he cited as one of his favourite stories, and one of the ones he went back to watch when it came to getting into the role, wasn't it?
yeah.
And so with that, you've also got the bow tie stolen from him as well. But the energy, the way he uses his hands in his performance, I think that is very Troughton-esque as well, but not in a full-on stealing way. He does make it his own.
And I think when you're a kid, you sort of latch on to like different Doctor mannerisms, and I think like the hand waving the hands about to become like a thing, part of my personality now. Really, can you speak about your hands? Probably not. No.
Sadly, you can't quite demonstrate that on this because
No.
we are audio only for
It's
this
a
series.
podcast,
But
but yeah.
I mean, check out any of the streams where Ben's got his camera on, and you will see that in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of how this Doctor works with children, I think it helps that, I mean, right off the bat, he's with Little Media, isn't he?
It's such a clever
But
way
even,
of introducing a companion, isn't it? It's such a different and
yeah.
unique way, and I think Moffat puts the time back in Doctor Who.
Hmm. I think while Moffat has certainly got maybe more adult humour than Russell had, I don't, or more. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because by this point, we're obviously growing up with the show.
Yeah.
And so we're getting to the age where we notice said humour a lot more anyway.
Is this the first case of Moffat's browser history? Joe?
Yeah, it would be, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Although at this time it's aimed at someone who's not the Doctor, at least.
Yeah.
It's a girlfriend, Jeff. But yeah.
Hope Jeff's all right.
No.
I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah. And I mean, the whole kissogram thing as well. Like, that is, yeah. I mean, it's quite obvious what's technically going on there, but we can't quite say because Doctor Who family show.
Family Channel.
Yeah. It's a great reveal though. Like the Doctor's like, "You were a little girl 5 minutes ago," but then you've got there's a nice. I mean, we're sort of skipping ahead to the review of this. There's a nice line where he says about why did you change from Amelia to Amy, and she just replies with a bit too fairy tale, sort of calling back to how he saw it earlier, and it's interesting seeing like the effect the Doctor's had on this, well, now woman then girl, in like a short space of time. Like he only met her for one night, and yet she's very much molded her whole life around him, really, up till this point.
Well, she had
It's
to have like
fast.
9 psychiatrists. Like
Yeah,
the
kept
man,
biting him.
the man scarred that girl.
Hmm. And the way everyone in Ledworth just recognizes him as well, just for
When you were none.
she's a very good artist. Like,
Yeah.
the way she did those dolls and such. The fact that she got Rory to dress up and play as him as well. I don't, it's brilliant stuff from Moffat, and I think it does call to like as I was saying before. I think went off on a tangent as we do. You have got more of that adult humor as well, but Moffat knows how to tailor the show towards the kids who are watching.
Yes.
I think especially with this, having the Doctor as someone's imaginary friend, I think that's a beautiful direction to take the series in, really, isn't it?
I love the fairy tale nature of Series 5.
And the way the Doctor just interacts with children, be it young Amelia to the children at the end of the Big Bang at the wedding. I think he's got an inner child in him, hasn't he? This Doctor.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah. And I mean, certainly the Doctor, especially, like, you've got that wonderful line from the Fourth Doctor: "No point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometime." And as we were saying earlier about the quirkiness and not being ashamed of it, he's not ashamed of his inner child either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a great way to take the show. But I mean, this almost wasn't the Doctor we had, because Moffat was trying to convince David Tennant to return for Series 5, wasn't he?
Mm.
Yeah, and that was what could have been storyline there. And I believe it would have taken a similar direction with the TARDIS crashing into Amy's garden. But, you know, it would have been David Tennant at the end of his lifetime, about to regenerate, and Amy would help him back into the TARDIS and he'd go off to regenerate. Then, you know, younger 10th Doctor would come along and the story would play out as it was. Amy would have this impact from the Doctor, but obviously he wouldn't know who she is until finally we get round to finale time for Series 5, where the 10th Doctor actually would have regenerated and gone back and filled in that gap, which is an idea that Moffat returned to, wasn't it, really, with Impossible Astronaut? It didn't take him long to reuse these ideas. Fair play to him.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
But yeah, in the end, David declined the option to return for one more series. I mean, I feel from what Moffat said, he believed that David never was going to do it anyway, but just thought he was like entertaining the idea and considering it, but he was pretty certain his decision would be a no. And that instead allows us to have a completely fresh start. Moffat was also thinking of hiring an older Doctor, wasn't he? In fact, I think he was pretty set on it.
Yeah.
Even considered Peter Capaldi first time around. But then after seeing Matt Smith's audition, decided, you know, there's no one better. This guy should be the Doctor. And so we ended up with our youngest Doctor ever at this point. But now Shooty's come along and take it. Or has he?
No, he's not. Shooty's 29.
Yeah, 2 years older. Yeah.
So I think Davison was 29. He was the youngest Doctor at that point, and then Matt was 26.
Yeah, that was it. God, I'm 25 now. That's scary.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, almost old enough to be cast as a Doctor.
You're nearly there.
Yeah, not long now. But yeah, I mean, for me, I really... Oh, goodness.
There we go. The inner Matt Smith coming out there. Peter Davison.
Yeah, more Peter Davison, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
They compared it in a few quite finished. But yeah. Anyway, for me, he is a great Doctor and a lot of fun, especially in Series 5. I think while my views towards the Moffat era are a bit more shaky, Series 5 I really enjoyed at the time and continue to do so. I think, you know, when I was younger, I mean, even still now, I'm someone who's not necessarily afraid of things ending. If that, it's only sad after it's gone and you look back on it. Me, I'm always more excited about the new beginnings, and this was a great new beginning for the show to go on to.
I mean, I might have a bit of a hot take here.
Go for it.
I think the 11th Doctor's the darkest Doctor.
I could definitely see that. I mean, you don't get much of it in this story, but certainly later on. I think Series 6 specifically is when you really get to see that side of the Doctor more. And I think that's a side that Moffat was interested in exploring, wasn't it? You know, the idea that he's lived this long and so he can manipulate others into doing things. Russell as well. I mean, going back to the end of time, I know we said we're done gushing about that.
Well, I am. You're not, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, there was that great line where the 10th Doctor says he got worse than just killing people. He got clever. He made others take their lives. And that's something that you certainly see with Matt Smith a fair few times.
Like Colonel Runaway and stuff like that, and like Solomon in like Series 7. It's just so dark, but this sort of clown can just do that. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think Matt pulls it off so well, doesn't he?
The switch is great. So good.
I think the fact that he is so light and fun, I think makes those moments hit a lot more.
Yeah.
because you have that change there. You know how he normally is, and then suddenly there's this side to him, and it makes it that much more scary that is always there, even when he's putting on a more fun exterior. The fact that you know that's just under the surface and can just come out.
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, 11th hour now, where it all started. Well, not quite where it all started for Matt Smith himself, because this was in the third production block of the series. The first 4 episodes were done first, weren't they?
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, where it started for us as viewers, and where it starts chronologically at least. What other trivia have you got for us?
I feel like I'm breaking one of the magic moments of this story, which is fish custard. It wasn't actually fish fingers, it was coconut.
Yeah. I mean, he said he ate about 14 of them, didn't he?
Yeah, which I have to say, fish fingers and custard slaps really good. I like it. Call me a cretin. I thought it was quite tasty.
I'll live without it, to be honest.
I'll happily have that part of my diet.
No. Did you have it while you watched this one?
No, I didn't.
Watch?
I had it. I've probably not had it for like 10 years, but I did like a
but it might not be that good now.
It probably is. It's custard. I like custard. I like fish fingers. Yeah, it oddly works. There's something there what just clicks with the chemicals in my mouth. I'm like, yeah, this is good. But yeah, let us know if you've tried fish fingers and custard.
Yeah, share your thoughts on this odd piece of Doctor Who cuisine down below. Leave it alongside your thoughts on those weird cookies, the Dalek cookies.
I mean, it tastes better than those cookies I made.
I mean, if you had the fish fingers and the custard for that long, it might not.
Oh, it'd be rancid.
I mean, the custard would probably be rock hard, wouldn't it? Who knows?
I don't want to think about what a mistake that custard would be.
Anyway, for those who have not been grossed out and are still listening, this story has quite a bit of star power going behind it, doesn't it? Or later star power. So Karen Gillan's really taken off. Probably had the best career out of Doctor Who ever, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think Matt's finally getting what he deserves with like House of Dragon, which great show, and Morbin Time.
Yeah, I suppose with Matt, he's sort of maybe taken a step back from film and going back to TV, but it's still huge budget TV. So
yeah,
I mean, House of the Dragon, the budget that HBO puts behind that isn't far off a film, really, is it?
No, not really. I mean, Last Night in Soho, that was a good film. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, he was there as well.
Yeah,
I think Matt Smith is one of those funny actors who a lot of people don't really recognise as the Doctor now. They sort of see him as the guy from the Dancing Morbius meme.
Yeah, which is a shame because the man deserves all the awards.
Yeah, he's got a lot more to offer than that. Yeah, Karen Gillan, off in the Marvel universe, and she had Jumanji as well, didn't she?
Yeah,
but she's not blue for a change. Yeah, Tom Hopper in this as Jeff, get a girlfriend. He's gone on to do very well in the Umbrella Academy over on Netflix. Olivia Colman, of course, speaks for herself.
Oh yeah,
and Arthur Darvill didn't do too badly either after this.
No, he's done all right.
And Patrick Moore. Sort of different kind of star power there, but yeah. A bit of a fun cameo for him there, which is I feel like it's something that's forgotten about a bit, really, and it's something Moffat did a bit more as his era went on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Russell started it.
Like,
Aliens of London with getting like Andrew Marr and stuff like that, and like yeah,
but they were sort of like more. Russell did it through the television, didn't he?
Yes,
he did it to make the world feel more real. Like as if you could just be watching television, have this stuff be happening on your TV. Whereas the way Moffat incorporated it, the way that Patrick Moore's actually involved in the story,
in the plot.
Sense. Yeah, I think it's something a bit different. aspect. It's also done in a way that, I mean, it couldn't only be him, but it's not. Whereas with the Russell cameos, you could just get any old TV personality reacting to weird alien stuff, couldn't you? It's like there's room to maneuver there. With Patrick Moore, there's not quite as much room to maneuver when it comes to the geniuses you would have on this call to sort out what's happening with the alien threat to the world. Who would be like a classic? Who would Hartnell have rung up on the War Machines if they had a similar thing going on? Who's the 1960s equivalent?
I have no idea. I mean, I guess, was it Starry Night, or I don't know what the show's called. I guess that would be on then. So maybe Patrick Moore was on it back in the 60s. So, you know.
Yeah. No, you never know. Or a different kind of cameo, perhaps, during the Pertwee era. You could have got Peter Purvis on Blue Peter.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. Making a dinosaur in the middle of London. Dinosaur cake in the middle of London.
Why not?
There we have it. Yeah, I suppose. Do you want to take it away with the synopsis for the 11th hour?
Yes, I can. So we start off the story in a familiar way, what we've known through the Russell era, the Earth. But it's very different as we get the TARDIS over the London sky. A bit worse, where sparks are flying and we get the 11th Doctor hanging out of the TARDIS, flying over, and he's about to get hit in the nuts by the Spire of Big Ben. Oh, it's a scary one for the Doctor, because, you know, he's a brave man doing that. So
a couple of generations down the line, he wouldn't have had to worry.
Oof, that's a low blow.
Oh dear.
But yeah, he gets back in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS spirals off, and we get the new title sequence. What do you think of the new title sequence? Because I think that it's such a drastic change, and I like it. This sort of lightning effect, and yeah, I think that it really gets going when you get to sort of the orange vortex within it.
Yeah, our first title sequence change as well, isn't it? The new series.
Yeah.
And I really do like it. It's a nice change. I think, again, like we were saying, it was time for change at this point, and it's such a fresh way to start the series, isn't it?
Really is.
I mean, I don't really have any strong opinions on it other than I just like it, really.
I mean, there were complaints about it. People didn't like it.
So it's just that whole thing of change, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are against.
I really like the theme.
Oh, yeah, I think the theme's a step up.
Yeah, I like the theme.
Yeah, visual-wise, I'm not too sure. I think, you know, the original RTD vortex felt more like a time vortex, because it is like somewhat more otherworldly. It's harder to get a hold on what that's meant to be, whereas with this, it's clouds, it's lightning. It is a bit more earthly, but
it's fairy tale.
I think it needed to change, and it's a good change to make. So, yeah, I'm happy with it.
So before we get the TARDIS back, we have little Amelia Pond praying to Santa. How fitting for this advent. But it's Easter, so she's like, I don't want to wake him, about this mysterious crack in her wall. And she gets her answer to try and solve this crack as the TARDIS arrives. And a strange raggedy man comes climbing out of a swimming pool with a library, and he's got a craving for apples. So this begins this lovely comedic moment of the Doctor trying out food, seeing what he likes. And I love the analogy of it's like brushing your teeth and then eating something after everything tastes wrong. And I think that's such a good way of sort of putting regeneration in human terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, I mean, his whole mouth would have been refreshed after that regeneration, I suppose.
Yeah.
So there's one way to clean your teeth, at least. I imagine that since they're brand new, they should be fairly clean.
Yeah, well, yeah, we should hope so. So we get that sequence, and we have the Doctor examining this mysterious crack in her room, which reveals that Prisoner Zero has escaped.
What could this mean?
A massive eyeball and the Atraxi are on their way. And then things aren't going too well for the Doctor as the cloister bell goes off the TARDIS. So he runs down, goes, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." And this is what I love about that whole sequence is that you got the nice sort of "Am I people?" When grown-ups say that everything's going to be fine, and it's not. They're like it just is so wonderful dialogue. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I think again, it's like that thing of the Doctor, this Doctor in particular, working well with children.
Yeah, and
he sees the world from their perspective,
and you get a similar moment to that in Hungry Earth with Elliot when he's like, "Oh, are you scared of monsters?" And the Doctor's like, "No, they're scared of me." And it's just great. I just love all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean the way he just not dismisses, because that sounds like a mean way of putting it, but he's not fazed by Elliot's dyslexia, is he?
Yeah, he's not at all.
Yeah, he's just like, "So I can't cook a souffle. What can you do?" I know it's about focusing on the good, rather than the bad.
But right now he's focusing on the bad because the cloister bell. So off the Doctor goes. Little Amy packs a bag for awaiting the Raggedy Man to return. But the Raggedy Man doesn't return. But he returns 12 years later as the Doctor realises what's going on. And he goes back to Amy's house, finding a little Amelia's not there, but gets whacked by a cricket bat, leading him to be knocked out. We see a policewoman in the form of Amy. And this is when we get a nice little Moffat idea caught up in with sort of exploring the corner of your eye, which I think is a very Moffat-y thing to do.
It's always taking the everyday stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
and making it scary. It makes it relatable.
Yeah, that's the joy of Moffat, that he uses something, childhood trauma, fear, whatever you want to call it, to his advantage, like the silence.
Yeah, I mean, you got the weeping angels, that fear of statues. What if they move when you're not looking? You got the clock ticking in your room at night, that only sound you can hear. Stuff like that.
So the Doctor goes to Amy, maybe you want to count the rooms on this floor, and there's this room Amy has never seen. She goes in, finds the Sonic, and this snaky creature there, Prisoner Zero, and we're greeted with Dogman. And it's time to escape the building. And this is when the Doctor
vacate the building before it's destroyed.
Because the Atraxi are going to incinerate the planet.
Yeah, the human residents. I think that's a wonderful reveal as well, isn't it? When they say, human residents, they're not talking about Amy's house, which you would think human residents. It's the whole planet. The whole planet is where the human race resides. And so it's going to get incinerated.
As, we have the because we get this revelation that it's been 12 years since the Doctor last saw Amy.
And 9 psychiatrists.
9 psychiatrists.
I don't know. It's some more psychiatrists than someone should have.
Yeah. But meanwhile, we have this hospital sequence where a nurse, Rory, has been taking photos of these coma patients, which Prisoner Zero have been using as disguises. It all feels very sort of Smith and Jones in a way, with like the plasmavore.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have all that, and this is when the Doctor sort of uses the Sonic, isn't it, to sort of get the Atraxi attention, isn't it?
To draw it over, because they've spotted Prisoner Zero on the other side of the park, haven't they?
Yeah.
Next to a duck pond that doesn't have any ducks. So how is it a duck pond?
Brilliant dialogue like that, which is great. So this
it's funny how that just feels like a quirky thing, but actually it's related to the cracks in time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the idea that the
ducks,
it's
like the bees from series 4.
Just something that feels like a one-off joke, but actually does have some consequences. I mean, before you carry on, what do you make of Rory's introduction there? Because it's weird how, for someone who's going to end up being a companion, that's still rather understated. And I suppose technically he is just a side character in this story.
I mean, I'm not a big Rory fan.
Really?
Yeah.
From a Moffat apologist, you're hating on Rory.
I mean, there's a reason he kept dying. Let's put it that way.
I'm a fan of Rory. I like him. I'll support him.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We're a balance for yin and yang in it. It's fine.
Yeah, here we go.
It's fine.
I mean, it also feels a bit oddly dated. You mentioned before we started this recording, because he's got the is it BlackBerry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a BlackBerry. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's this big deal that it's also a camera, whereas stuff like this is just, commonplace to us now. The idea that your phone is a camera, that just comes as standard, really. Yeah, I mean, they're all touchscreen now. No touchscreens in sight here.
Yeah. So we have the doctor going to Jeff's to find out what all's going on with the scientist, and this is when he creates like a computer virus to draw out Prisoner Zero. So we have Amy and Rory going to the hospital when Prisoner Zero lets slip that all Prisoner Zero's there, and we have the doctor having 1 hour to save. Oh, is it 20 minutes, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's 20 minutes at this point.
20 minutes to save the planet. And he does it because he draws the Atraxi right to the hospital. And this is when we get the nice sort of send-off as Prisoner Zero is captured. Whole sequence on the rooftop. And we get I Am the Doctor, which is wonderful. And it's a moment of saying, here is the Doctor. He has arrived. And the TARDIS is all brand new. And off he goes. But he's left to Amy again. A few years later, we have the 11th Doctor arriving again to give Amy the offer of travelling in the TARDIS, and we get a beautiful sequence of them in the TARDIS, and it's goodbye Ledworth, and back home in time for stuff, which reveals it's Amy's wedding night.
There's a wonderful moment at the end there as well, when before the Doctor returns, it goes back to young Amelia, doesn't it? Just sitting there, it's morning now, and you start to hear the TARDIS materializing, and you think, oh, he's going back to the young one, but no, he's actually gone back 2 years later for older Amelia. But I think it's a nice way of bringing the story full circle and showing that he has gone back for this girl that he's keeping his promise, just a little bit later than intended.
Yeah, it begins with the tagline of The Girl Who Waited.
Wonderful stuff.
With the synopsis out of the way, I guess we've given away our thoughts on this story. So,
I mean, even before the synopsis, I think we get away that we were quite fond of this one, really.
Yeah. So, what do you think of 11th Hour?
Well, first, actually, I'd like to say how wonderful that coming up trailer was at the end. Seeing that again,
yes. It was brilliant.
It's crazy thinking what we got a few years, about 8 years later with The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and how that was just an odd collection of celebrities.
Yeah, and it's the same runtime as 11th Hour, and I know which one does it better. Spoiler, this one.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find out our full thoughts on The Woman Who Fell to Earth in just a few days now. That is coming up. But for now, the 11th Hour, I mean, that beautiful trailer at the end as well, it gets you so excited for what's to come. After a very solid start before that, a good introduction to these characters, and the perfect way to introduce a new Doctor in many ways, especially that final scene where he calls the Atraxi back, and you have the previous 10 out of 11 previous incarnations turning up there before he finally walks through the hologram and says, hello, or I can't quite remember the line now.
Hello,
but yeah,
I'm the Doctor. Basically, run.
There you go. That's it. And then I'm the Doctor itself, fittingly enough, starts playing.
It's such a good bit of music,
him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a good bit of music. I don't care how overused it is. I still stand by. I get goosebumps.
I really like the fairy tale-esque quality of Amy's theme. I think that's a beautiful piece. I think that's a standout piece of music for the episode for me.
Oh, I quite like a Madman in a Box.
That's another good one.
Yeah, I think that shows the whimsical, magical nature of the TARDIS. It's so good.
Hmm. Yeah, that's okay. Murray Gold giving us banger after banger at this point in Doctor Who's history, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
I think even though he is one of the elements that are stuck around from the Russell T Davies era, he's given it a fresh take, hasn't he, when it comes to this stuff? He got what Moffat was going for with the more fairy tale approach and ran with that in the music.
For sure.
It's a lot of fun, this story. I think certainly very much carried by Matt Smith and Karen Gillan's energy in the performance. And just the chemistry between them as well is great.
I just think how it's relentless in pace. It's just bam, 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 bam. It's like there is urgency there. There's agency in both characters. Yeah, it's so good.
I think it's also nice to have a post-generation story with the Doctor front and center here, because with Christmas Invasion, that was much more Rose's story for the majority of it, wasn't it? And it was a bit more slow. And I love them both for the fact that they are different. This isn't me going back and dissing the Christmas Invasion for that, but I think it's good to have something very different here. And I suppose it's sort of by the very nature of it, because you don't have a returning character alongside the Doctor to be a bit more thrown off by them not being a Doctor. You don't have that audience surrogate at this point. So instead, you need the Doctor to be very sure of themselves that they are the Doctor. And throughout this, Matt Smith just hits the ground running.
Well, yeah, he's literally running it. I think that his Doctor, he's pretty much all there, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say so, really. I suppose it helps that he did have, 4 stories before this in the can to find his feet a bit more. But even so, even in those...
Yeah, I'd say like the Angel two-parter, he's pretty much... There's not been much of a change there. You can still say that's the 11th Doctor.
I suppose part of it comes down to how clear Moffat's vision for this Doctor was as well.
Yeah.
He did... When it comes to Capaldi, you could see there's a bit more of adjustment there of working out what to do with him as the Doctor. With Matt Smith, Moffat knew right from the start where he wanted to take this Doctor. I mean, even had a huge arc planned out, which, again, we'll talk about tomorrow as it concludes with Time of the Doctor. But for now, 11th Hour, just a lot of fun, just a great start. And just one of those stories that perfectly sums up, I wouldn't say Doctor Who necessarily, but the Doctor more so as a character.
It really highlights the concept of what makes Doctor Who magic. It's about monsters, time travel, and it's this wonderful roller coaster fairy tale.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the monster from this little girl's childhood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though she'd never quite seen it growing up, it was nevertheless there with her, and the crack itself that it came through haunted her.
Yeah, it is so wonderfully crafted, and I think that it's such, like I said before, it's a great way of introducing the companion, what Doctor Who can only do. And
I mean, the way it's told from the Doctor's perspective instead. So that we don't quite work out the time skip until a little while later.
Yeah.
You got Karen Gillan putting on a phony English accent.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, great fun. I mean, oh, there's that great line, isn't there? Of I hate it here. It's rubbish. From young Amelia about England.
Yeah.
I think. Even towards the end as well, the Doctor's talked about how, you've never lost the accent, even in all your years here.
Yeah.
So yeah, certainly. Moffat loves, well, as a Scotsman himself, he loves that Scottish pride, doesn't he? Fair play to him.
Yeah, rightly so.
I mean, was he a Scot who grew up in England as well? I'm not too sure.
No, I don't know.
That's something we'll have to look up for tomorrow. See.
So I think he lived down the road from David Tennant at one point.
Nah. So yeah, probably would have been up in Scotland still. Who knows? A mystery for another day.
But what I do know is this is one of the best post-regeneration stories.
I'll agree there.
Hands down. I think this is definitely up there with Spearhead in Space.
It feels very similar to Spearhead in some ways.
Yeah,
as well,
it does.
I think it's because of the hospital, isn't it?
Yeah.
The hospital very much brings it full circle. And again, he's stealing clothes from a hospital.
I mean, turn your back if it embarrasses you, you know?
Yeah, like, Amy, why aren't you turning around?
It's so good. Watching this again, it reminds me of how sharp Moffat's dialogue is. There's a lovely pinpoint accuracy to it.
No word is wasted, is it?
No, like the scene between Amelia and the doctor in the kitchen, like you said something about the crack, like how it loops back to that conversation is so well done.
Yeah. It's like, once it's that thing of him turning on a dial, isn't it?
Yeah.
The way as soon as the fun's out the way, he's like, right, I'm here to help now. Let's see this scary crack.
Yeah. And I think that it really appeals to like the inner kid, because like your dream of looking outside your bedroom window and the TARDIS being there.
And then you've got a character literally getting that.
Yeah, it really plays with that thing you have as a kid.
And I mean, she's even got Doctor Who action figures in her. Well, not quite action figures, but
yeah, toilet rolls.
She's got all the memorabilia.
Yeah. She's one of us. One of us.
Yeah. Look, Mum, can we have Doctor Who memorabilia? No, we have Doctor Who memorabilia at home. Doctor Who memorabilia at home is Amy's stuff.
What do we make of the TARDIS?
I love this interior.
It's
got a nice homely feel, doesn't it?
I prefer this to the Tennant coral one. I think this is utilizing the organic coral motif better.
It's got a nice hodgepodge feel to it.
Yeah, I like the use of levels within it. It makes the TARDIS feel bigger. I think you get it more with the 7B TARDIS. But this is a nice sort of proto that, really.
I prefer this to 7B TARDIS as well. I think this very much suits Matt Smith's Doctor a lot more, doesn't it? Than that one.
Yeah, I'd say this is Matt's TARDIS for sure.
Yeah. I love the asymmetry of it also. It is something quite different, and I think it's probably one of the only TARDISes that does have that asymmetrical vibe, other than, the Eighth Doctor's.
Well, as elements of that TARDIS with like the scanner.
Yeah, that's nicely implemented. But you got two scanners, haven't you? You've got like the one on the console, and then you've also got a wall one. So it like takes the best of both worlds from different TARDISes.
It's a great TARDIS. And then we have the sonic screwdriver, which I'm gonna say best sonic screwdriver.
I will say I wasn't a fan of the TARDIS giving him the sonic screwdriver. I think that's one thing that Woman Who Fell to Earth does have on 11th Hour, is the fact that the Doctor made her own sonic screwdriver. How it went later in the era with that sonic screwdriver is a different story. But certainly, I do prefer the Doctor making his own sonic screwdriver than just being that it's sort of coming part and parcel with the TARDIS.
I mean, it's fine as a one-off. I think when it gets to Capaldi, it's a bit like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I feel like Capaldi's more of a tinkerer.
Yeah. Especially the way it fired the sonic at him as well.
Yeah.
But then again, that one sort of works in that it is a TARDIS Sonic, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that was just for toys, really. Going, we can't sell Sonic shades.
Yeah. But, I mean, I say we're skipping ahead to Capaldi. We're not actually going to talk about the shades. Oh, no, they do pop up in Twice Upon a Time, don't they?
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, they're there. But, we brought them up now, so there was that nice idea of anyone can be the Doctor now, because you just put on some sunglasses and boom, they're Sonic.
I think that's the beauty of Capaldi, though. I know we're jumping here, but like you could take your tie off with your school uniform and you're the Doctor.
Like, I mean, that's what I did on the dressing up day.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, your geography teacher,
Matt
Smith, what are we going to rate his first story, The 11th Hour?
Can I give it 11?
I think there may be some complaints in the comments if you do that.
All right,
You may break the system a bit there.
I'm all about breaking the system. All right, let's start at 10. 10. I'm going 10.
I'll go 9.
Oh, okay, all
But yeah,
right.
it's a great story.
Sounds like that one.
Will the ratings stay this high tomorrow, though, as we enter the time of the Doctor in the 11th Doctor's 11th hour?
Time for one last bow of the bow tie.
Stay tuned for our thoughts on that one.
So if you've enjoyed this episode, please like it. Let us know your thoughts on 11th hour, fish custard, and the 11th Doctor in general. Be interested to know what you think of the 11th Doctor, your memories of the time it went out, because it was an exciting time, like the crash there, the countdown, big changes in Doctor Who.
So, yeah. First time new logo as well. And you mentioned as well getting the figures on the same day.
Yeah, what a rarity, what a joy to get a new Sonic and a new Doctor the day the show airs. Like, that is just pure synergy.
Website updating as well.
Lovely stuff. So yeah, that's us done for day 19, the 11th hour. We'll see you tomorrow for Time of the Doctor.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.